Next man up, 1025, The Game. Jake Lyman with you, and it is a TD Tuesday here on Titans roster cutdown day. Turron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, is with us for all 3 hours. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Parker Kelly with us behind the glass. TD, we are back on Tuesdays after getting moved around a little bit with Titans practice. Should be a fun one today. Obviously, it's a big day, and I'm sure we'll start to find out some more of these cuts as they get down to 53 this afternoon throughout the show.
Yeah, some more cuts will be coming. It's good to be back on schedule. And, hey, it's also good to wake up in the morning after a 13-3 win for my Mets over the Phillies. I mean, listen, we can't go without mentioning that.
I mean, that's a big series. Division, how far back are they in the division now? 4 or 5 games?
Yeah, we're not going to look at that.
But still,
it's like 4 games.
The head-to-head, if you get a couple more,
yeah,
you could close that gap a little more. I'm a little bit tired this morning because I decided to stay up and watch Tarek Skubal pitch in Sacramento last night. They didn't have first pitch till 9. And then, of course, he gave up a grand slam on his last pitch of the game. So they lost to the Athletics 8-3. So, good for the Mets, though. And maybe we'll talk about the Mets a little bit later on, too. Get an update on TD's vibe check as we enter the final month of the season. But it is Titans Cutdown Day. We will go through any cuts that we get, any surprises that maybe happen, and where the Titans could look on waivers as they still have that first waiver priority. A couple of interesting names cut loose over the last couple of days. We'll also look at Cam Ward's performance on Friday night and how he looked overall throughout the preseason and where he looks like he's going to be heading into week 1. But first, TD, a couple of big moves around the league yesterday. We saw some extensions finally get signed. Terry McLaurin has signed a 3-year, $96 million extension. We saw Trey Hendrickson get a raise. They finally figured things out in Cincinnati, at least for 1 year. It's not a long-term contract, but they've got him back on the field. And Jacoby Myers requesting a trade. That one's a little interesting to me. The Raiders also signed Amari Cooper, bringing him back to where he started his NFL career. Where do you think Jacoby Myers could end up if they do move him? I still am a little skeptical that they would get rid of him, but that's a guy who kind of flies under the radar, but he's been a 1,000-yard receiver at least the last couple of years.
Yeah, I no telling. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the Giants. I don't know. They need help receiver. There's no telling where he can end up. From what I understand, they don't intend to trade him, but you see the acquisition of Amari Cooper, and don't forget about the volunteer product. Well, Oregon first, but then volunteer Dante Thornton, who apparently has elevated to wide receiver 1. And it's crazy to think like that guy was in the building here.
Yep,
he was in the building, and they had interest in him, but. They went different directions.
He was on the board when they took DK at least, right? So they could have gone with Thornton instead of DK. Both were 4-3 guys.
Yep.
I guess it's just kind of pick your flavor at that point of Thornton's a little bit bigger than DK is. So, maybe it ends up being one of those things that we look back like Des Fitzpatrick and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not saying that, he's got to prove it in real games, but yeah, it looks like Dante Thornton could end up being a dude in the NFL. We also saw the Browns finally fix their logjam at least for the most part at quarterback. Not going to have 4 quarterbacks on the roster as they trade Kenny Pickett away to the Raiders last night. So Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, they are going to be on that 53-man roster. No surprise there. And if Joe Flacco goes down or if things don't go well for the Browns for the first couple of months, looks like we could see one of the rookies take over there for Cleveland.
Which rookie will it be?
Right, that's the question.
I don't know. It just seems like I don't want to open a whole can of everything, but the Shedeur situation is very intriguing. I wonder if they would give him a chance if, something should happen where Flacco's not the quarterback there. I don't know, but yeah, that's just kind of one I'll just kind of stay away from because we'll probably end up 2 or 3 segments on that topic.
Dillon Gabriel has looked good in the preseason, but I know there was conversations over the weekend in that last preseason game of Gabriel got to play with some of the more talented players on the roster, and he got the opportunity to go through the 2-minute drills, and Shedeur Sanders did not get that opportunity. But Shedeur, One of the things that was talked about with Shedeur as a knock on him in the draft process was that he would take some stupid sacks and he would go backwards in the pocket. And man, he took a 24-yard sack on Saturday. And that's something that he'll have to work out. But I do wonder, yeah, let's say Flacco gets hurt and they put Dylan Gabriel in there and Gabriel struggles for a couple of weeks. I think the fan outcry for Shedeur Sanders would be too loud to not put him in at some point during the season. Maybe Dylan Gabriel gets in there and lights the world on fire and the Browns think they have their franchise guy. I kind of struggle to see that happening. I think eventually Shedeur Sanders is going to start football games for the Browns this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we shall see. I think if you just go on merit and play, I think he will start at some point. But it just seems like there's other factors working there,
Yeah.
and he has to be twice as good in order to have the same progression up the depth chart as a Dylan Gabriel would.
And the Browns, they are going to be in the quarterback market next year. I think you can pretty safely say that. Like, I don't think they are completely all in on either Gabriel or Sanders, having taken them beyond day one of the draft. So I think they'd like to see what they have in these guys. And if it means you lose more games, that's better for them in terms of getting towards the top of the draft to get, whether it's Arch Manning or Garrett Nussmeier or whoever is the number one pick or top 5 pick. So I think it would make sense to at least get a look at both these guys. And because if you're going to draft a quarterback that high in the draft, you want to make sure that one of the guys on your roster isn't better than them already. You got to see what they can do in a real game.
Yeah, and that's the main thing that you have to figure out. You know what I mean? What will his presence bring to the roster that you don't already have?
Right. And that's usually how this ends up going when you take a flyer on a quarterback, whether that's on day 2 or day 3. You let them play once the season gets out of hand, which for the Browns probably will be sooner rather than later. And if they end up working out, then great. You can give them a chance at a full season next year. That's kind of how it worked with Will Levis for the Titans. Like, they gave him a chance down the stretch. He showed enough promise to get the reins for 1 year, and then they moved on. Maybe that ends up happening with one of those two guys with the Cleveland Browns. Our resident Raider fan, Nevada Josh, chiming in on the Jacoby Myers trade talks. He says they will not let him go. He's on his last year of his contract. He just wants an extension, and Pete will give it to him. My Raider take for the day. I think that's how it ends up working out. Like, how many trade requests have there been this offseason? Have any of them been traded?
Why did he request the trade?
He wants an extension.
Because he hasn't gotten the extension.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I'm not going to just say, and I get it, fans look at things through their team-colored glasses. But that's just not an automatic that he's going to get the extension.
Right. But usually it ends up working itself out. Like, Terry McLaurin requested a trade. Trey Hendrickson requested a trade.
You know what, though? Terry McLaurin, Trey Hendrickson, we're talking about different caliber players than Jacoby Myers. No disrespect to Jacoby Myers. But those guys are relatively untradeable for your franchise.
That is true. And we'll see if Jacoby Myers ends up out there. I would say the Titans wouldn't be interested. Like, that's a guy who marginal upgrade. Like, yeah, he's better at wide receiver 2 than what you have, but are you willing to give up draft capital to go get him and pay him? No. Every time a player requests a trade, there's somebody on Titans Twitter who goes out there and asks the question. I think that one's an easy no for the Titans. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'd love to hear from you. You can text or call us. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Since we are back on Tuesdays, and we're going to get more consistent here having TD on the show as many Tuesdays as it works out with his schedule, 11 a.m., we're going to start doing this. 11 a.m. on Tuesdays, talk to TD. I'm stealing a little bit of Ask D-Mace from DVD. We're going to let you ask the questions to Turron Davenport, whether it's about the Titans, the NFL, the Mets, life, anything. Just ask TD. That's coming up at 11. So get those questions in on our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Again, that's Talk to TD. We'll do that in the 11 o'clock hour. But coming up next, it is roster cutdown day. The Titans do have to get their roster down to 53 players by 3 o'clock today. So we've got about 6 hours until they have to be down to 53. Right now, I believe they're at 74
Yeah, 16 guys were released.
16 guys were cut yesterday, so they've got to cut about 20 more, and they can obviously filter 16 of those guys into the practice squad if they choose to do so over the next couple of days. But the Titans do have the top waiver priority. Where could they look to use that right and maybe add some more talent to this roster? We'll talk about that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Sneed or That was Brian Callahan on Saturday talking about the Titans' top waiver priority and how Mike Borgonzi may choose to use it over the next 24 hours. Titans have to cut down to 53 today, but odds are the back end of that roster not safe for very long, as the Titans should make multiple waiver claims from other teams. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up here on this Tuesday. TD, Titans have to get down to 53. And yesterday on the show, we did the exercise of just going through how many locks are there on the roster. And I went through and I feel pretty confident in 46 players making the roster. But those 7 spots, I got to say, I don't feel very good about those 7 guys being NFL rosterable players. Now, there are a few in there, like James Prochet I had on the bubble. I think he would be fine as your 7th wide receiver. You're going to keep a 3rd tight end. But if you're 49, 50 through 53, I don't think you feel very safe. The Titans probably going to be looking at the waiver wire at multiple positions over the next day or so.
Yeah. Yeah, they will be looking at the waiver wire. I think they've kind of scoured as Brian Callahan said. Mike and Berganzi and the crew they've been looking at all the different prospects, not prospects, but prospective waiver guys. I think you look at some of them. There are some intriguing names, and to your point, I've said man 49 to 53, but I mean you could really make a legitimate case like man 45 to 53.
Right.
You better have your head on a swivel and don't unpack just yet.
Right. You look at if they keep a 9th offensive lineman as a swing tackle, that could be replaceable. 3rd tight end, I think they like David Martin Robinson. Is probably, I don't know if that's a spot where you need to use a waiver claim, but running back with Tajay Spears likely missing the first 4 weeks. Terry McCormick reporting yesterday that he's likely going to start the season on short-term IR. Maybe that's a place you go. And the name that was floating around there yesterday, the Broncos waiving Audric Estime, maybe not a flashy name, but a guy who could possibly be that short-term Tajay Spears replacement until he's healthy again.
Not for me.
Really?
I think they're better off just keeping Julius Chestnut, honestly, as well as Khalil Mullins, who we don't know for sure what the injury situation is with him. But yeah, Julius Chestnut to me is a better back than Estime,
so
frankly.
Would you say there are options that maybe you would go away from Chestnut to bring in another running back, just not Estime, who could come loose?
I haven't seen any yet. Ja'Shawn Corbin from the Falcons is intriguing, but no, I haven't seen any come free yet. But let's comb through and look specifically for running backs. Corbin is one that popped out, but other than him, no.
I saw Cam Akers got cut. I know he's not on waivers because he's a veteran, but maybe that's a guy they look at as a short-term guy. I mean, he's kind of bounced around, but still a talented guy throughout his time in the league.
Yeah, Cam Akers, a guy who can catch the ball as well out of the backfield, so it does give you similar type of ability to Tajay Spears. But hey, Julius Chestnut can catch the ball out of the backfield too.
Hey, I don't hate it, Julius. He looked good on Friday night in that preseason game. He had the hurdle that set up the touchdown drive. So right now, I think the Titans are going to keep 4 because Tajay Spears has to be on the 53-man roster before they can put him on IR. But who knows? Maybe running back is one of those surprise spots they make a waiver claim. On the offensive line, you look at it, you got the 5 starters, and then I think you feel good about the interior depth with Blake Hance, Jackson Slater, Corey Levin. But you do need a 3rd tackle. And I know Blake Hance could swing out and play tackle if they needed him to, but you need somebody as an insurance policy to Dan Moore and J.C. Latham. Do you feel good if that is a guy like Ali Udoh, who he's been the first one off the bench during the preseason? Or maybe that's a place you look on the waiver wire, or the Lions releasing Dan Skipper yesterday, a guy who's played with Kevin Zeitler. Maybe that's your option as a 3rd tackle. He's been that for the Lions for the last couple of years.
Yeah, Skipper could catch it too.
Right, as long as he reports to the referee.
Yeah, got to report. I think that is a situation where they're going to look at some of the options. Ali Udoh, as you mentioned, is a guy, he's first off the bench. Jalen Duncan, he's gotten a lot more interested. I'll put it that way. A lot more interested in his job, it seems like this year. But you just wonder how much do they trust him? to stay that course. So he is somebody. But then you look at Andrew Rupchich. He has the flexibility to play right tackle, right guard, left guard, and he's been a solid fill-in for them. So he's someone. I think you look at Brendan Crenshaw Dixon.
Yep.
So they have guys that definitely have to be. They have to be watching. What's this waiver wire acquisition process going to look like
Right.
for their position? Because I could easily see one of them getting pushed out because of a guy that they bring in.
Yeah, offensively, I think offensive line is where you look for a possible waiver claim. Outside of that, again, maybe running back if they feel like they need somebody for those first 4 weeks when Tajay Spears is going to be available. But it looks like a lot of the waiver claims are going to come on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And I have noticed it seems like a lot of highly drafted defensive linemen are being cut. Now, that doesn't mean that they're good NFL players.
Boogie
but
Basham.
Right. Like there are some names that you recognize because of the draft process that are coming loose. Again, just because you were drafted in the second or third round doesn't mean you're a good NFL player. Like the Titans claimed Brian Asamoah from the Vikings, and he's probably going to get cut today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're going to bring this guy in, he's immediately going to be a starter. But there could be some intriguing names out there that are better than, on the interior, Carlos Watkins, who could get that fifth defensive lineman spot today. On the edge, Ali Gay, Jalen Harrell. You could upgrade through the waiver process there with somebody who maybe could be a reclamation project from somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, there are options, and sometimes a change of scenery helps. You look at the Titans signed Darrell Baker Jr., this time last year.
Right.
He went from the Colts to the Titans, and he ended up starting. And I'm not talking about week 15, 16. No, I'm talking about week 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you do have guys that could definitely come off the waiver wire and contribute to your team.
The guy that I just saw got cut that I think the Titans should run to the waiver wire to get, and maybe this is just me. I actually met, it's Chad Muma from the Jaguars. I actually met him. I went and worked stats for the famous Idaho Potato Bowl that he played in against Kent State his senior year. And I got to meet him, the day before the game. Very nice guy. So I may be a little biased here, just, having met him personally, but I liked watching him. Like that dude was a menace at Wyoming. I know it hasn't really worked out with the Jaguars, but I think he would be an upgrade over, would it be Curtis Jacobs who probably gets that fourth inside linebacker spot right now?
He could be an upgrade over Jacobs. Honestly, I had Jacobs on my projection, but of course that doesn't include the waiver wire. Yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that would be a good move. And he's a special teams guy too that can help you out there.
Right. I like Chad Muma. Again, I think I might have some bias there, and because he was in that game, it was Kent State versus Wyoming. He was the best player on the field. He was a third round pick. I don't think there was anybody else who really even got drafted. Well, I guess Isaiah Nayor, if I'm pronouncing that right, who transferred to Nebraska. He ended up being kind of a player, but Chad Muma was the best player on the field that day. I think I would be excited to see them bring him in. And inside linebacker, again, we feel better about the top end, right? Like Cody Barton has proven that he can be a solid starting linebacker throughout the preseason. And I love what we've seen from Cedric Gray and James Williams, but you need another body in that room. And I don't know if you feel good about whether it's Jacobs, Asamoah, Amari Burney got cut yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So really that's the only 5 you have in there right now. I think that would be an easy waiver claim to go get a guy like Muma. Maybe it's not specifically Chad Muma.
Yeah, and this is one of the cases where it's an advantage for the Titans having that first waiver claim, because Muma is a guy, like you look at a situation like the Giants, you look at Denver, you know what I mean? Cody Barton just left there. They needed another guy kind of like that. Perfect opportunity for him to go there and maybe compete for a starting job while DJ Williams, is on the mend. I think that's a move that if I'm Berganzi and the crew, I'm definitely looking at.
Titans have the number 1 waiver claim. They have to get down to 53 today.
I said DJ Williams.
Oh, Jane.
I went old school Broncos linebackers. I meant Greenlaw.
Yes, Dre Greenlaw. I mean, that could be an opportunity for him too. So we'll see. The Titans will get the cuts over the next 5 to 6 hours. I would guess they come down a little earlier than that. We'll probably find out some of them during the show today. We'll keep an eye out. And then the waiver claims will come tomorrow. I believe, Parker, did you say Mike Borgonzi going to speak on Thursday now?
Yes,
Is that
Yeah.
the
Thursday
plan?
at 10 a.m.
We'll hear from Mike Borgonzi. Believe we'll be able to air that on the show on Thursday and get all his thoughts on the cuts and the waiver claims the Titans bring in over the next couple of days. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have thoughts, we'll get to your phones coming up next. I want to stop on the cornerback room for a second. We'll look at that as the Titans, I think, need a waiver claim there. I think that is the one position that the other ones you'd like a waiver claim. I think you need one at corner. We'll look at that coming up next. And also, I heard the morning show talking a lot about Hendon Hooker today. We will talk about Hendon Hooker being waived by the Lions before the hour is up as well. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you on this Tuesday morning. Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 1025, the game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you. Parker, so far so good on the bump music.
Yeah. There's a funny thing to this, and as a Virginia guy, you could appreciate this because Missy Elliott is from the DMV.
Yep.
So we're in the studio, and I'm like, Parker, because we put the music together for the Talking with TD podcast, and I'm like, Parker, I want to put this song on right here. Like, you ever heard of Missy Elliott? He was like, who?
Not one of my best moments.
I mean, you got to educate him. He's going to be with us every week.
This is my same reaction.
Yeah.
That's why TD is in my life, to show me the things that I didn't know.
Hey, TD educates. Like, he got Connor Newt playing some good bump music. I
got Connor Newt playing that old 1980s SOS band.
Right.
But yeah, I was so disappointed that he did not. And then my reaction was literally, I was speechless and just looked.
That's tough. I mean, I wouldn't say that I know a ton of Missy Elliott, but like I know who she is, of course.
But look, he on his own picked the song and put it out there. That's a great job.
I'm a changed man.
There we go. Props to Parker Kelly. He's learning back there. These TD Tuesdays, every other day, the music doesn't matter. But when TD's in here, you got to impress.
Mm-hmm.
So
music. I listen to music more than watch TV. Like when I go to road games, no, that's a lie. When I'm on the road, non-football season, I don't even turn the TV on in the hotel.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even turn the TV on.
Wow.
The only reason I turn the TV on road games is to watch college games.
I mean, I have to say the TV when I go on road trips is on like from the second I walk in, and it's on when I'm leaving. Like I'll just throw on Comedy Central or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there is a game on, obviously I'll watch that. But usually it's just like, all right, they're showing Office reruns. Yeah. That's going to be on the entire time. I'm not a huge music guy.
Yeah, I'm huge.
Like I need to get more into it. I'm more of a podcast listener when I'm in the car.
Listen, we all have our things that we
right. But well done, Parker Kelly. You've still got 2.5 hours here to impress TD.
Hey, I'll keep the hits rolling
throughout
the course of the afternoon.
Connor, you got some competition here.
Connor started school this week. He's back at MTSU for his senior year, so props to Connor. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to chime in. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One more thought on the waiver claims, because the Titans are going to get down to 53 this afternoon. And then I believe tomorrow we should start to see those waiver claims coming in, see who the Titans are trading in and out as they have that top waiver priority. TD, do you agree with me that cornerback is the one position that the Titans need another body at? Because I think you feel fine with the 5 you have of Sneed, McCreary, Brownlee, Baker, Harris. I think those 5 are going to make the roster. Maybe Gabe Jeudy-Lally makes the team, but I think you have to add another body in that room just because you don't know about L'Jarius Sneed and how much he's going to be able to play. And if you end up having to run out of 4 of, you feel good about McCreary and Brownlee, but Baker and Harris, I think you'd like to add another body to that room who could be some depth at cornerback.
Yeah, you definitely want to add another body. And this is one of those things. Look, man, hindsight's always 20/20, right? We talk about the 4th round with Dante Thornton. Another 4th round guy, Quincy Riley. Man, he's down there in New Orleans, lighting it up. You know what I mean? Lighting it up. Jarvis Brownlee Jr.'s teammate for a year at Louisville. I know the Titans had interest. There were reasons that I've been told that they, pivoted.
Gotcha.
But they still believe he's a really good player. So, that's an example where it's a guy like he could play outside, he could play inside. Think Jair Alexander, like that's who he patterned his game after. I remember he told me that at the combine. But nevertheless, I mean, you look at the DBs across the waiver wire. I didn't see any that really stood out.
Me neither.
I mean, you're probably not going to get a top tier corner, even a top 15 corner coming free. I would watch what the Ravens do because they're pretty deep at cornerback. But, other than that, there's not really much to – unless there's some type of surprise.
Yeah, you got to hope you can find a Darrell Baker type guy. Like, again, not a guy who's going to go out and start for you, but a guy that if he gets out there isn't going to be a complete disaster. And I think the Titans hoped that one of those undrafted free agent guys that they brought in was going to work out, whether that's Jamari Harris, Davian Ross, was Jalen Kimber. Like I think they brought those guys in as undrafted guys thinking, hey, one of these guys is going to be good enough to make our roster. And from everything I've heard, and you've been out there at practice every day, like it feels like anytime the backup cornerbacks got in the game or got into practice, it was just not good at all. And it's tough because you were hoping that maybe one of those young guys could end up being a developmental piece for you.
Yeah.
Now you probably do have to go to the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think, Marcus Harris is a guy I would mention. I saw him get cooked a couple times, but he's made some plays as
Right.
well. So that's probably, to me, the bright spot as far as the young quarterbacks. Jamari Harris, I really thought that he was going to. My original 53 man, the one going into training camp,
Yeah.
had him on it.
Right.
Not anymore. I swapped him out for Gabe Judy Lally, who to me, like I know why they're doing it. They like his ability, but he doesn't have the long speed. And that's why he's playing more nickel.
Yeah.
But you look at their very own offense, they got a guy like Chimere DK that they put in the slot, and they're going to run those deep crossers with him. And, when other teams do that, Judy Lally just unfortunately doesn't have the speed to run with slot receivers on those deep type of vertical speed routes, whether it's I say deep crosser, but with this deep crosser, like you're getting depth as you cross the field. So it's not, don't think crossing route, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm more like an arrow route. But anyway, I'm really intrigued by this group of DBs, L'Jarius Sneed, the conditioning. If he could get that conditioning right, I think he'll be serviceable. Now, if he gets back to the L'Jarius Sneed, the one that, jammed Tyreek Hill to the next month.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill admitted it. You get back to that guy, now your defense is totally different. But, I mean, who's to say that's for sure going to happen?
You can't count on that with what we've seen from L'Jarius Sneed in a Titans uniform so far. I think you're just hoping and praying that he can be a starting level cornerback in the league. Like, if you can get a starting level L'Jarius Sneed, Jarvis Brownlee on the other side, Roger McCreary in the slot, like that's a fine group of starting cornerbacks. And you've got, Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods back there. That makes your top line secondary fine. Like it's a good group. The depth is the issue because if any of those guys get hurt, and again, with L'Jarius Sneed, it seems it's more when, not if he gets hurt. You're going to have to put somebody in there who, like Darrell Baker's proven to be a fine backup. Marcus Harris, like you said, he's flashed this year, and I think I'm excited to see how he develops. But yeah, like if you have to put Gabe Judy Lally out there, I don't know how great you feel. And I agree with you that Jamari Harris heading into training camp, I thought he was going to make the roster. He was a guy that everybody looked at when the Titans signed him and said it was off the field stuff that moved him out of the draft. He was a draftable player if you take away the off the field stuff. We haven't heard anything from off the field. He just hasn't been very good on the field.
Yeah, and that's the issue, right?
Right. And that's
that's what's most important.
I think if you had told me like Jamari Harris doesn't make this team, I would have said, not surprising. He's undrafted, and maybe the off the field stuff was legit, but he just wasn't. Yeah. There wasn't a single time that I saw a tweet from you or from anybody else saying great play from Jamari Harris.
No, he didn't have many good moments. And that's a problem. Like if you're undrafted, like you got to have a good moment every day. Like you have to be someone that's getting mentioned. Oh, like Bryce Oliver was last year. There wasn't a practice you went through where you didn't say, "Good Lord, man, Aiden made a play again, man. Who was that guy again? Oh yeah. You know what I mean?" And that's not what you're saying about Jamari Harris. And I thought that he would take advantage of this situation and all of the extra reps that he was getting at the outside and seize it. But I'm telling you, Marcus Harris has done that.
Yep. And I like what I saw, especially in the Atlanta game for Marcus Harris.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a good fifth cornerback to have, but you need six likely. And we'll see if the Titans end up using their top waiver priority to bring in another DB. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have thoughts, questions for TD. We will get to those at 11 a.m. For our first edition of Talk to TD here on this TD Tuesday on the program. Later today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Nashville Sounds take on Charlotte at First Horizon Park with the first pitch at 6:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Now, I already had this in the show plan that we were going to talk about Hendon Hooker here, but we are getting texts asking questions about Hendon Hooker, and we have to address it. The former Vols quarterback was waived by the Lions yesterday. The question is, would the Titans go and get him? Justin from Greenbrier just asked that. We will address that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. This isn't just a concert, it's a cause. Trinetics Rock the Cradle helps give fragile newborns a stronger start and keeps mom close when it matters most. With Tim McGraw live on stage and your support behind every beat, Ascension St. Thomas is turning music into healing. Tickets are on sale now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up 1025. The game. Latest round of NFL roster cuts says all 32 teams have to be down to 53 players. Today, the Colts have released Jelani Woods, tight end, 6'7", big guy. Titans, I don't think will be in the tight end market on the waiver wire, but there's a chance. Jets releasing former third-round pick out of Western Kentucky, Malachi Corley, Laviska Shenault cut by the Bills, and there was another one. Trent Brown cut by the Texans, and the Texans also apparently are shopping Cam Robinson. So that offensive line that shuffled so much in the offseason continues to shuffle. Although it seems like they like Ariante Ursary, the second-round pick out of Minnesota. So
Laviska Shenault, I remember watching him, seeing him at Colorado.
A stud.
And I'm just like, oh. And then they did the story, and he got to the league, and it just never worked out.
I remember when the Jags picked him, and I was like,
ooh,
man, we're gonna have to see him all the time, and it never worked out. He had the Deebo Samuel type profile. It just didn't work out. Another player who was cut yesterday, Hendon Hooker. He was waived by the Detroit Lions, former third-round pick out of Tennessee, and we've been getting questions. Justin from Greenbrier asks, I know this is probably a rose-colored glasses view, maybe an orange-colored glasses view, but could the Titans go get Hendon Hooker? Maybe it just didn't work out with him in Detroit, but have him come here and work with Cam Ward and maybe find his groove. I will quickly take a victory lap because back when the Will Levis versus Hendon Hooker argument was going on and people were saying trade for Hendon Hooker, I said that is nothing more than a backup in the NFL. I watched every snap he took at Virginia Tech, and I know he figured it out at Tennessee, and he was maybe the best quarterback in football in 2022 in college football. But he has no traits, and that's what the NFL drafts on is traits. Like, that is why Will Levis went higher, because he had the arm strength and the size, and Hendon Hooker didn't have that. I will say I think somebody should claim Hendon Hooker, and it's a good reclamation project. Maybe you can figure it out with him and turn him into a solid backup. It should not be here, though.
Yeah, somebody should target him. I don't know about here. San Francisco is always a good place for quarterbacks to go to develop. Kansas City is always a good place for quarterbacks to go to develop.
Maybe the Saints
Rams
or something.
Are always, I don't know about the Saints. Me personally.
For an opportunity, I guess.
Spencer Rattler needs to be the starter down there, but that's a different conversation. I would say this, as you mentioned Levis and talk about Hendon Hooker, is like if you can merge the two, you got something. Because the one thing that Hooker does well, his decision making, you know what I mean? And he's a facilitator. And he basically ran like the fast break offense at Tennessee,
right?
Which, as we know, tends to not transfer to the league. That's why personally, Vol fans are about to hate me. But I think Nico made a good decision NFL wise.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hey, Vol's Twitter is about to come after both of you.
No, I mean,
beware.
Yeah, that's okay.
I heard Joe and Robbie talking about it, that if Nico has a good year and gets drafted, he is going to bash the Tennessee offense for holding him back. And as true, it will continue to be a narrative until somebody breaks it. I thought Robbie and Joe put it perfectly. Like, the Tennessee offense needs somebody to come out of that and be successful at the NFL level to stop the narrative.
Yeah.
Right now, there just isn't anybody.
But I will say this, like, Nico not working with the Vols, like, I don't think that's a Josh Heupel. That's a Nico problem.
For sure.
Because Dante Thornton should be a daggone first-round pick, given how many times Nico missed him deep. We're not going to get into all that. Again, yet another thing we're not going to get into, but I think when you look at Hendon Hooker and where he should end up going, to me, the 49ers are the best place for him.
Yeah, and Kyle Shanahan has been the quarterback reclamation guy. Like, I mean, Sam Darnold is the main example of brought him in and turned him into a guy who won 14 games for the Vikings last year. Chip from Mount Juliet makes the point, the Lions brought in Teddy Bridgewater off the high school football sideline ahead of him last year. Like, people will tell you what they think of a guy based on what they do. And again, I think Hendon Hooker will probably be claimed somewhere. Somebody will take a chance on him. It shouldn't be here because, and this is not to all Vols fans, because there are plenty of smart Vols fans out there who are rational and wouldn't do this. But if the Titans did bring in Hendon Hooker and Cam Ward had a bad game in Denver, I think that's all it would take for some Vols fans to say, let's see what Hendon's got. Let's put him out there. And you don't want that for your young quarterback because it's a distraction to have somebody that the fans already is beloved among Tennessee fans. You bring him in here, and now it's like he's looking over Cam Ward's shoulder, even if that's not how it actually is in the quarterback room.
Yeah, it's just optically, it's not good. I think there are other things that you could do. And people say, hey, well, Brandon Allen, if he has to come in, yeah, you know what? I don't care who it is. If they have to come in, like, just cancel Christmas
Yeah,
because
it's over.
everything. And that's why I asked Cam Ward the question, like, you literally have the lifeline of this organization sitting on your shoulders. It's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
But he handles it. You know what I mean? And it's a fact. Like 2027, whatever the momentum is going into that stadium, it's because of Cam Ward.
Yep.
Now, it could be good, it could be bad. But whatever the momentum is, it's because of him.
It could, depending on the spectrum of Cam Ward outcomes over the next 2 seasons, you could either be heading into that stadium feeling like you're ready to go compete to go to the Super Bowl, if Cam Ward is that kind of player, or Cam Ward could be getting cut or traded and you're starting over at quarterback and there's no momentum heading into the new stadium. Like it is exclusively on Cam Ward. And like I don't think bringing in a guy who the fans would be the Tennessee fans portion of this fan base would be looking to switch to in a blink of an eye. If Cam Ward doesn't look good, it wouldn't be great. But I mean, I've never believed that Hendon Hooker was an NFL quarterback, a starting NFL quarterback. I think it would be a fine claim for somebody else to see if they can get something out of him. It can't be here though. It cannot be here.
Yeah, they don't have time to invest into developing him, but also why? Like,
Yeah.
why would they do it?
I mean, if you want to bring in a younger third quarterback, because like having Brandon Allen and Trevor Siemian might be a little redundant. Like they're both kind of the same guy. Maybe if you want to bring in a younger third quarterback to be on your practice squad and develop, that's fine. But if you bring in Hendon Hooker, it's like a lesser version of what's going on with Shador in Cleveland. Shador is the third string quarterback, but all the fans want him to play. And I know it wouldn't be all the fans here, but there would be that portion of the fan base that would always be thinking, man, we'd love to see Hendon Hooker play for the Titans. And it would be a distraction, and it can't happen. Again, I like Hendon Hooker. I actually took a class with Hendon Hooker my sophomore year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he was there. That was actually his best season. They went 9-3 that year. But I never thought he had the traits to be an NFL quarterback, a productive NFL quarterback. We'll see if maybe a change of scenery can help him out.
Yeah.
Ben asks on our text line, is it possible Cam is just mediocre and we are in limbo in 2027, trying to hope he takes a leap? For sure. I said it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
I went with the two extreme outcomes. It probably is somewhere in the middle where, 75th percentile outcome is probably that he ends up being a top 15 quarterback in the league and you're a playoff contender. And yeah, your 25th percentile outcome is probably exactly that Cam is just good enough to keep giving him chances and you don't really know what to do with him moving forward.
Yeah.
So we will see. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Continue to get your questions in for TD. We will talk to TD coming up at 11 and give you the chance to ask any questions you have for Turron Davenport. But coming up next, we'll talk more about Cam Ward. He had his preseason finale on Friday night. Thought he looked good. We will go through that performance and did he play enough in the preseason to be ready for the game against Denver? 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Second hour on this Tuesday. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. It is roster cutdown day across the NFL. Cuts are coming in fast and furious. Don't believe we've seen anything from the Titans yet today, but we will continue to update you if any news comes in. Titans have to make about 20 cuts today to get down to 53, and then we'll see how many of the guys who make the initial 53 actually stick around after waiver claims over the next 24 hours. We will get back to the waiver wire, the 53, all of that. But the Titans did play on Friday night. Want to get TD's thoughts on the performance of Cam Ward in his third and final preseason game. TD, he only threw 4 passes. He threw 5. One of them ended up not counting because of the holding penalty late in that touchdown drive. But overall, I think he looked solid. It was a good throw to Van Jefferson on that out route. He found Alec Iamaner twice, nearly had his first touchdown pass. I think overall it was a solid night for Cam Ward, even though it kind of felt like the game plan was just keep it on the ground, keep him out of harm's way as much as possible with 3 backup offensive linemen on the field.
Yeah, no, I think it was overall solid. You got to see the drive. A very good. What is it? 8 minutes,
13 play.
Yeah, 13 plays, 90 yards, 8 minutes, 33 seconds. I think it was. So that's what you wanted. Those are the drives that really put an offense in gear, and then you go back onto the field and you carry over because momentum is real. I know you can't put a formula or algorithm on it, and I'm sorry, statistical guys, but momentum is true.
Yep.
Because when you play this game and you feel that momentum, you understand that there's no formula that could be put on it. It has a factor. So I say all that to say, after you put together that drive, like it just puts you in a groove and you get back on the field offensively and you could carry that over. Now, does it always mean that you're going to rebound or come back with another drive similar? No, but it's still just a groove that you could get into. And that's just a part of why I look at this and say, hey, he really should have played more snaps because then you could really get into the flow of the game. Now he's gotten into the flow of the practice, right? You see how they changed the play calling a little bit to get him in a rhythm, et cetera, during practice, but give him that opportunity to do so in the game. Stack a couple good drives together, and that's why I definitely feel he should have played till halftime.
Yeah, he played 7 series throughout his preseason, and I think if he was going to play more, it probably should have come in week 1, but you also had the issue of the field conditions out there in Tampa weren't great, so it's like that's probably not where you want to risk it. The second week, you already had 2 full-on joint practices with the Falcons, so maybe it didn't make sense to keep him out there that long. And then at the end, against the Vikings, it's like you just want to get him feeling confident heading into the season. So when he leads that touchdown drive, you don't want to go out there and have him throw a pick or something, and that ends up being the end. Or then you have to put him out there again. So I get why they only played him that much, but I do worry about now he's got to go out there against one of the best defenses in the league in week 1, and he's got to go play the entire game. Is he going to be ready for that? It is a little bit concerning as we get within 12 days of the opener.
Yeah, you just want to get him used to getting into a groove. But look, that's something that could happen within the game, and I think that's just the way you have to play call. It's going to be tough, like you said, against that the Broncos defense, who, look, all 3 levels. Well, first and front end and back end. Maybe not we talked about the linebacker group, but I think you got the pass rush and you got the coverage behind it. When you have those 2 things, your defense is going to be good, and that's why they're one of the top in the league.
Right. And, Patrick Surtain, defensive player of the year, he is not going to be an easy task, probably going to be following Calvin Ridley around most of the day. So Cam Ward will have his hands full in week 1. Only played 7 drives in the preseason. We did have a texter ask the question, and I don't want to give this too much air, but 9064 asks, thoughts on PFF grading Cam Ward as the worst of any rookie quarterback in the preseason. I saw this graphic that came out, and guys, he played 7 drives in the preseason. And I always take PFF grades with a grain of salt, first of all. And it's like, you can't judge a guy based on what really amounts to probably 2.5 quarters worth of gameplay. Like,
Mhm.
and he didn't turn the ball over. Probably should have against Tampa, but he didn't turn the ball over. And overall, I thought it was an efficient play from Cam Ward through his three preseason games. Like PFF, if you're taking PFF as your, end all be all of evaluation of a player,
Don't do
like
it.
you got to watch the games. And if you watch the games, would you say Cam Ward was the worst rookie quarterback in the preseason? No. So don't take the PFF grades as the holy grail of quarterback evaluation.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, more importantly, Tajay Spears, he was just placed on injured reserve.
Yes, I just
So
saw that.
that's something that I think we do need to. I don't really like to engage in too much of the PFF grail. Like,
Yeah.
look, here's the thing, and people say that, hey, man, PFF, the league uses PFF. Yes, they do, because a subscription to PFF will allow you to chart how many times Jimmy Graham lined up as receiver as opposed to tight end.
Right.
And they don't, rather than throw that on that grunt work on some, whatever temporary hire, intern, whatever, they just subscribe to PFF.
Right.
They don't use their gradings. And I'm not here to degrade anybody else's values, like what they do as far as evaluating and stuff like that, but it's very hard to grade a player if you do not know exactly what the scheme is doing. That's why, if you notice, when I me personally, knowing that, I'll say, hey, I think a player should have done this, but you don't know until you talk to
Right.
that player. So all of these grades and stuff like that, don't
It's an arbitrary number.
yeah.
Like, first of all, you don't know who's doing the grading. You don't know how they're deriving at these grades. Like, it is literally just a number that they throw out there and act like it's the gospel. And a lot of
Well,
times
they don't. People do.
people do.
That subscribe to it.
Right. But it's like,
including some media folks,
yes,
which to me is a damn shame.
sometimes the PFF grade will match the eye test. And I think over the long haul, the good players end up having good PFF grades. That's kind of just how it works.
Mhm.
But like, in terms of a small sample size, it doesn't really tell the whole story. But yes, Tajay Spears, Adam Schefter putting out just about 3 minutes ago that he was placed on injured reserve. So Tajay Spears, as expected, will miss the first 4 games of the season, leaving the Titans with likely just Tony Pollard, Julius Chestnut, and Khalil Mullings in their running back room. We talked about maybe adding there. I know you said not Audric Estime, but that will be a position to look at as players continue to come loose today. If there's anybody that could end up serving that third down back role while Tajay Spears is on IR.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I think Julius Chestnut, time to step up.
Hey, I like Julius Chestnut. He's like Mason Kinsey. He's the cockroach you just can't get rid of. But who knows? Maybe they want to go and add somebody. But also, do you want to waste a roster spot on a guy who is going to become redundant once Tajay Spears comes back?
Yeah, I think this allows you to keep, a 7th receiver or a 4th tight end if you choose to do so. And then, that guy get released and passed to the practice squad. Boom,
Right.
boom.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have thoughts on Cam Ward, Tajay Spears, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Talking about Cam Ward's performance on Friday night, and Parker and I touched on this yesterday. There was a lot of talk about Cam Ward's footwork and the throw to Van Jefferson where he steps sideways instead of stepping towards Van Jefferson. We're going to get TD's thoughts on that, as well as we'll hear from Cam Ward talking about his footwork. 615-737-1025. Tune in for the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix race on 1025 The Game this Sunday. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. and is brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you on this Tuesday morning. Next man up here on 1025 The Game. Parker Kelly hit me with the "Are you ready for this?" right before coming back.
This is one of the ones you do this, man. You do this right here. Look. You put the flashlight on your phone, and you just. Keisha Cole is that chick, man. I tell you, Keisha, if you're listening,
If you're
hit us up, 615. What's the rest of the number?
615-737-1025.
737-1025.
Yeah, if you're listening out there.
I do you better than Huncho did. I promise you that.
Yeah, if
I
she
didn't
is,
expect this program to go this way today.
I love Keisha Cole, man. She's one of the chicks right
so I'm
there,
doing
man.
good so far, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
If Keisha Cole is somehow out there listening to our show right now, I hope we see the lights flash on this this phone right here. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Talking about Cam Ward, he had his final preseason game ahead of his NFL debut next week. It was overall a good game. And I think overall the preseason, you like what you saw. Was there anything special? No, there wasn't a huge flashy play, but overall he looked good. The story that came out of Friday night's game on probably his best throw of the day was the throw to Van Jefferson on the outbreaking route, first play of that 90-yard drive. And the comments were made that, yeah, they're trying to teach him to step into his throws instead of stepping sideways. Cam Ward stepped sideways on that throw. Still, with the arm talent, was able to push it and got it to Van Jefferson right on the money. TD, is it a red flag, the Cam Ward footwork inconsistencies, or is that just part of Cam Ward's game where, yeah, maybe the footwork's not going to be perfect, but his ability to play off schedule and the different arm angles and throwing off platform, like, it's kind of just how he plays. And yeah, it might get him in trouble, but it also might allow him to make some of those special throws that other quarterbacks can't make.
Yeah, I think that's really what it boils down to. If you look at that throw, it's an opposite hash to the sideline. Like, he drove that. That's a laser throw.
Yep.
I think, me personally, I look at that and I'd be like, wow, he did that without the footwork
that was
being
all
right.
Arm.
That's how I look at it. And then I say, okay, well, you know what? You see the arm strength, the arm talent is clearly there. How can you really maximize it and make it even better? That's how I look at it. I don't look at it to like, oh, well, he did that, but the technique, so it was better. No, it's good. But what's even more promising is that you could process that and make it even better. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the type of throw that when I watched while he was at Miami, like those are the types of throws that made me want to draft him number 1 overall. It's just like so effortless, and he can drive the football to the sideline, up the seam. It is part of Cam Ward's game. I do think it's going to get him in trouble at some point. And I said this yesterday, like, there's going to be some plays where maybe he trusts his arm a little bit too much and doesn't step into a throw. And an elite defensive back, like he'll see in week 1 with Patrick Surtain, might make him pay for it. And it's going to happen. He's just got to learn from it and know when to pick and choose his spots of like, hey, this one, maybe I can get away with fading away a little bit on the throw. This one, I really have to drive it and thread the needle and step into the throw. It's going to be a learning process. I don't think it's not a huge concern. He's just got to pick and choose his spots of like where he needs to be consistent with that footwork.
That's really what it boils down to. I don't even think he has to pick and choose his spots. He has to be more consistent with it.
Right. Yeah.
But there are going to be spots where, like, a good example, the second throw, I think it was to Io Manor
yes.
in that drive where it was like a little spot up route. And I remember there was some pressure coming and he couldn't really step into it. So it's like, okay, yes, you want the technique to always be right and the footwork to be right. But there are times where spacing doesn't allow you to do so. And if you could still make the throw without it being right. So that's why I look at that throw to Van Jefferson a lot differently. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's like, okay, everything doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
And it will still get executed. And again, there's going to be situations where you can't be perfect. That pocket's getting pushed back into your face. I need you to have the arm strength to still drive the ball to the sideline, even if you can't step into it, and that's why I look at it differently.
That's a good point. And I agree with you on that Aya Manor throw where it's like pressure was in his face and he kind of had to just reach around and still put it right where it needed to be with, enough zip on it that the defenders couldn't get there. Uh, the ones that worry me are the ones like the Van Jefferson throw, because although it's a great throw and you love that he can do that, he had a clean pocket and it's like you'd like to see him step into it.
Yeah.
But as Ron says here, and I think this is a good point from Ron, they mess with Tebow's throwing and he was never the same again, ruin the guy, leaves Cam's feet alone. I think it's a good point not comparing Tim Tebow and Cam Ward, because Tim Tebow didn't have nearly the arm talent that Cam Ward did. But I think some of these coaches do try and overcoach guys. It's like you feel like you can – you're like, we need to fix every little thing. But I believe Brian Callahan has said it's like sometimes you don't want to like overcoach him and, get into the details too much, because some of the things that you may think he does wrong, in quotes, is what makes him a great football player.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, people always say, hey, you got to catch the ball with your hands outside of your body. Well, if I were to ask you to name top 15 receivers of all time, Michael Irvin would probably be in there, right?
Yep.
Michael Irvin caught, even though he said he came out the womb catching, the doctor tried to spank him and then he caught the doctor's hand and said, don't do that. That's what he said. But everything, catching in the body like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes, look at batting stances. Julio Franco is one of the best hitters ever. Who the heck has their hands and points the bat at the pitcher?
Yep.
Eric Davis, one of the most exciting players ever. He holding the bat and jiggling it.
Right.
And then, sometimes you have guys that just do stuff unorthodox and you just got to kind of like let it be, because the results are coming. Now, later down the line, they're going to have to adapt. But while they're in their prime, just deal with it.
It's a great point, because it's like some guys, it looks weird and maybe it isn't the perfect technical play. Like Lonzo Ball's shooting motion coming out of UCLA.
God.
Like,
disgusting.
It was horrible, but it worked. They eventually fixed it because the results stopped coming. Not saying that you need to wait for Cam to get in trouble, but like, I think you can't try and coach some of the great off-platform plays out of him, but he does have to be more consistent. And I do think in a clean pocket like he had on that Van Jefferson throw, you'd like to see him step into it. But as you make a good point, it's nice to see that even then, when he didn't have the perfect technically sound feet, it was a great throw.
Yeah, no, it was a great throw. And again, I actually asked him about the footwork. I'm like, how do you feel you are doing, taking stuff from the classroom to the field, the drills that you do, and then to the games? And he touched on it. And I mean, he knows and he understands that it's a part of becoming a better player, right? Because you do want to evolve when you go from college to the NFL. Heck, you have to evolve if you're going to effectively go from college to the NFL. So this is the evolution. But again, like when this is something that you've been doing, like the guy been playing football since he's 5.
Yeah.
He's 23 now. So it's hard to break a 15-year habit, in off season. It's a process that's going to happen. And then we all know how things work when the action gets like live. A lot of times hey man, forget the technique. Like I'm out here trying to survive,
right?
And you leave all that stuff behind. So
being on the field is not the time to make mechanical adjustments.
No.
Like that's what I would always be told when I played high school baseball was like, hey, once you get in the game, don't be thinking about like making swing adjustments, because that's when you're going to strike out. Like you do that in practice and then you go out and trust it once you're in a game setting. It's what Cam Ward has to do, make the adjustments in practice and then let what made him the number one pick, let that shine when he gets on the field. And we'll see that in 10 days. You brought up just mentioned Cam Ward 23. I wanted to bring up quick tangent. I saw a tweet the other day. The 3 major colleges in Tennessee, their starting quarterbacks this year are all older than Cam Ward. Diego Pavia, Joey Aguilar, and I'm blanking on Memphis' starting quarterback this year. But all 3 of them are older than the starting quarterback of the state's professional football team. That is, I mean, it's the way college football is going. And like, as long as you can take advantage of it and found out what Diego Pavia is getting paid over the weekend. I don't think he'd make $2 million in the NFL. Joey Aguilar, I'm sure, is getting paid a decent sum of money to play at Tennessee. So I get it, but it is funny that that would be unheard of 10 years ago, that the college football quarterbacks are older than the NFL. I mean, Anthony Richardson, he's been in the league for 2.5 years now, and he's still, 23?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's crazy that this is where college football has gone, but I thought that was funny. I came across that tweet. I apologize. I didn't save it, so I can't give credit to who put it out there. But yeah, Diego Pavia, Joey Aguilar, both 24, Cam Ward, 23. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, coming up at 11, about 30 minutes from now, we will talk to TD. We'll let you talk to TD, so you can text or call 615-737-1025 with any questions for Turron. Davenport. Coming up next, though, the wide receiver room, probably one of the bigger inflection points here as we get down to the roster cuts to the 53. Will the Titans keep 6 or 7? We will talk about that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly with you on this Tuesday morning. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. This week's Nashville's Best Deal is for Homegrown Tap Room and Kitchen in Donaldson. Homegrown Tap Room and Kitchen, a beloved neighborhood hub featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives, offers a gourmet twist on comfort food, and you can enjoy one of their 24 taps of craft beer selections, wine, and unique canned cocktails. Get half off a $100 gift card now at thegamenashville.com while supplies last. Parker continues to pass Turron Davenport's tests with the bump music.
That pop. I ain't no killer, but don't tempt me. I can't say the rest of it because, I won't be invited back.
I'm very disappointed that Keisha Cole did not call in. We did not
There's
see
still time.
We didn't
There's
see
time.
the phone line lighting up. Again, 615-737-1025. If you're out there, if you know her, pass along the message.
It's 8:30 in Oakland. Okay.
That's true.
Maybe
she just woke up and turned on the app.
Yeah.
So who knows if she's out there listening.
If she turned on the app, I could be her coffee in the morning. How about it? Let me stop.
Wow,
Let me
T.
stop.
737.
Where are you pulling these pickup lines from?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, TD pulling up from half court here on the radio.
Allen Houston style. Forget Steph Curry. I'm Allen Houston, baby.
615-737-1025. If you are Keisha Cole, or if you're not, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, coming up at 11, we're giving you your chance to talk to Turron Davenport. If you have a question about the Titans, the Mets, college football, NFL football, anything, let us know. That's coming up at 11 a.m. 615-737-1025. Quickly want to touch on the wide receiver room, TD, because I think that is I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of surprises with Titans cuts. Like, anybody who gets cut is going to be moderately expected. I think the one big question is, do the Titans keep 7 wide receivers? And James Prochet would be the 7th guy if they did that. And likely he has to be the punt returner, right? If he's going to make the roster.
Punt returner, kick returner.
Do you think that's the way it's trending, or is Chimdike ready to be the punt returner and they maybe just keep 6?
I think they want Chimdike to do that. I got him. I got him on there. My receivers is bringing up my projection, and it's crazy because that's going to get twisted up a little bit now, right? With Spears going on IR. So I got Ridley, Lockett, Van Jefferson, Iomanor, DK, Bryce, Oliver, and James Prochet. And to your point, the return aspect. But what's crazy is Iomanor could do kick return. But more importantly, DK, Oliver, and Prochet are guys that do. And if the stuff hits the fan and you're desperate for a play, you could put Tyler Lockett back there on punt return. He's done it before. So there's a lot of flexibility there. I personally wouldn't put Lockett back there, but I think you look at those 3, they give you options in the return game, DK, Oliver, and Prochet. Kick return. Punt return is a different story.
Right.
DK and Prochet.
Because Tajay Spears typically has been your kick returner, and now we know officially he is going on injured reserve, so you don't have him for the first month. Might make sense to keep Prochet on the roster just to have more flexibility in the return game. I thought Joe and Robbie made a good point yesterday on Robbie and Rex Road about if you keep 7 receivers, you likely can't keep all 7 of them active on game days. Right. And if Prochet's your punt returner, he's got to be active. Bryce Oliver is one of your gunners. He's got to be active. And you're not deactivating Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, or Alec Iomanor, which leaves you with...
You might deactivate Chimmer.
It's Chim or Van Jefferson at that point, right?
And right now, Van Jefferson is your starting X.
Right.
And, hey, listen, we talk – you know what? We said so much stuff about the drop, rightfully so.
Yep.
But
Gotta
you know
give him
what? Can we get a Van Jefferson appreciation moment? You know what I mean? Golf clap.
There you go. Van Jefferson, 3 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown.
And, I mean, he had 2 solid practices leading up to that, and boy, oh boy, he had his get somewhere shoes on that other catch. And it was almost like he couldn't believe he had all that open field. And I'm like, oh, he about to get caught. He about to get. You know what? He's going to score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was scooting.
No, when he made the cornerback fall, I was like, oh, man, this could be big play. Yeah. I didn't think he had the jets like that to take it all the way.
And you know what? To his credit, because I also want to kind of bring you behind the scenes a little bit. Now, he would always go and get on the jugs machine, but I noticed that week after the Falcons, he was on there extra. He and Tyler Lockett. Yeah. Like, I'm talking about everybody's already in the locker room, even Cam Ward, you know, he does his extra stuff. I'm walking back. I ain't gonna lie, I bumped Lockett off the jugs machine and got on myself. I had to get a couple snaps to, catch the ball. But I mean, he was out there getting that extra work in on the jugs machine too. And as a guy who's a long-term veteran, to still have that, hey man, like I need that extra work and go get it, I appreciate it. So I want to make sure that we shout out when a guy does well, just as much as we poke when a guy doesn't.
Right. We made a big deal about the drop because everybody wanted that to be a catch because it was a good throw from Cam Ward. Was it a drop, like a hit you in the numbers?
Like,
right?
I ain't gonna lie,
he should have caught it for sure. But it's
Yeah.
it's not like it was one of those where it hit you right between right in the face mask and you dropped it.
It wasn't super egregious.
Right. But you're right. We gotta give him his flowers. There were plenty of people, especially on the text line last week, who were trying to cut Van Jefferson. And I think you're right. I think he's the starting X to start the season. Would it shock me if later in the year maybe he's into the backups once Alec Iamaner gets his feet wet? No. But you're right. I think it is going to be Chimdike who might have to be inactive if James Prochet is your punt returner. It was funny. I was at the game on Friday night and, just went with my fiance and her dad and her brother. And I believe there were some Ravenwood High School people sitting behind us.
Oh, really?
Because every time Van Jefferson did something, they were going crazy. And Friday nights in Middle Tennessee, Van Jefferson must have felt comfortable being back out there under the Friday night lights because he looked good. And I don't think he's going to be much more than he was with the Steelers last year. He had what, like 300 yards receiving, if that.
Yeah, but he had the one good year with the Rams,
right?
But boy, oh boy, and I was joking with him about it last week. He at the Senior Bowl, he and Darnay Holmes, the UCLA nickel.
Yep.
I don't know where Holmes is now. Boy, you talk about going at it. Like every single one-on-one was a battle, man.
Darnay
it was fun to see.
Holmes
He was with the Giants.
He's with the Raiders now.
Yeah, Raiders. Okay.
Replaced
Amik Robertson.
Yes, and there's actually an article here. I think it says Raiders projected to cut cornerback who is currently listed as starter on the depth chart. So I guess maybe he's on the bubble or maybe he's going to start. I don't know. Actually, it does look like he's probably going to get cut. So maybe Darnay Holmes is out there. You want to reunite those two guys. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. At the wide receiver position, Alec Iamaner, I've been impressed by so far. How fast do you think he can become an actual weapon for this team? I think he's going to get targets and he's going to get snaps in week one, but how long do you think it'll be till maybe he has a breakout?
The big thing is consistency. And I still think he needs to get a little bit harder, right? There are some times where it's like a little soft there. You know what I mean? I don't like to use that word. There are some times where it's like, I want you to be tougher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like if I was the coach, I would look at that and be like, I want you to be tougher in that situation where you're blocking. Don't let that DB come up and dunk you like that. You know what I mean? I want you to be a little more aggressive coming across the middle and snapping the ball out the air, even if it's in trap. Those types of things.
Right.
I'm not going to call Iamaner soft because I think Iamaner is a guy that's going to consistently win you combat catches. I think he does want to block, but it's just he has to be more consistent with that blocking. And that's only going to come as you get more acclimated. Like, I get it. He's been through a training camp, but there's still much more for him to get settled into.
Right.
And I think once he does, because you look physically, mentally, he's got it. You know what I mean? You just got to get that consistency going. And I think he's going to be fine. I will still say, to me, not getting Dante Thornton was a mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will still feel that it was a mistake. But they got Iamaner, they got DK, they got Gunnar Helm, and they're just going to have to make it work with these guys. And I think it will eventually.
You don't know about draft picks until probably 2 years after they're drafted. I think that's when you can start to make obviously there are exceptions to that. But right now it's looking like Dante Thornton might be one of the steals of the draft for the Raiders, and the Titans had the chance to go take him. Last thing on the wide receivers, Xavier Restrepo, not going to make this team. He did not get cut yesterday, though, so he is technically still on the roster. Maybe he's a practice squad guy, but it really, From the hype around OTAs and minicamp where it seemed like he was all over the field, he just kind of disappeared once we got to training camp in the preseason. Didn't really get a whole lot of opportunities, and I've said it pretty much all week. Like, if you look at what the coaches do, that'll tell you how they feel about a player. They told us how they feel about Restrepo with how he was used in the preseason.
Yeah, they did. It's unfortunate. Like, you saw a drop off from mini camp, OTAs and mini camp to training camp, and he's a guy. He has ability, but I think there's more. How can I put this? He's athletic, but I think you need more. You need more from it. Maybe in an ideal situation, we'll put it like this: for what he was asked to do here, it wasn't necessarily a match. Now, maybe in an offense like with the Patriots and Josh McDaniels back in there,
Yeah.
and hey, let's use him. Like, where it would be ideal for him at the Rams.
Yeah.
Use him in that Cooper Kupp type of role.
Right.
Now, Cooper Kupp, let's not get it twisted. Cooper Kupp is a whole different level of athlete than Xavier Restrepo.
Yep.
But I'm talking about running those similar type of routes, being in motion and running a crossing route and those types of things to set you up to get open, where you don't have to do as much to get open because the scheme is different. Those are the types of things where I think would showcase him better. That's not exactly what the Titans are doing here as far as, doing everything revolving around the slot. So he's not really showcased because he's not that guy to just go ahead and be the Joe to supersede the X's and O's. I think he has to be the Joe with the X's and O's.
Right. Yes, he doesn't have the athletic ability to overcome if he isn't being used the way he needs to be. So we'll see. I would make the guess that he would get through waivers after the Titans release him, and I would think the Titans bring him back on the practice squad, but we'll see. A lot going to be sorted out over the next 24 hours or so. Cuts are due by 3:00 today, and then the Titans will probably use their number one waiver claim multiple times to go and try and get some added depth, especially on the defensive side of the ball. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you. We'll wrap up hour number 2 right after this. You're on Next Man Up, 1025 The Game. Oh, wow. When did you get that?
I had it delivered Friday night.
Wow.
Shipped in from Chicago.
That's awesome.
Illinois. It wasn't expensive either. You look at that Jeep, you think it's like a $10,000-$15,000 Jeep.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Shipped and with the document fees and all that stuff, it was like $7,500.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's a nice car.
Yeah, and it's like sturdy like that. So my daughter, when she gets her license in like 2 weeks, she can drive.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
She drove us to Green Hill.
Really?
I was cracking up. Sitting on high drive. I was done.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Wrapping up the second hour here on Next Man Up. It is a TD Tuesday. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you. Again, we're testing a new segment coming up here at 11.
Parker Kelly.
Parker Kelly killing it today. Connor Newt would be proud
Yes.
of what Parker's doing behind the board over there. Again, we're workshopping a new segment here. If you've listened to DVD, they do Ask D-Mace on Fridays. We're going to give you a chance to talk to TD coming up in the next segment at 11 o'clock. If you have questions, thoughts, anything for Turron Davenport, text or call 615-737-1025. We've already got plenty on the text line, but if you want to call in, talk to Turron Davenport. If you're Keisha Cole out there, let us know and call in 615-737-1025. Yeah, maybe that one doesn't go on the air. I have a story to tell, and I figure we only got a couple minutes here. So last night, I played in my slow pitch softball playoffs. I don't know. Have you ever played slow pitch softball, TD?
Mm-mm.
It's fun because it's supposed to be just like, they lob the ball in for you. It's more about you play defense, and it's been fun. We were the 4 seed, I think. And so we were playing the 5 seed in the playoffs last night. If we win, we got to move on and would have played a doubleheader. And we pull up to the field. There is this. So the team is made mostly up. The team we're playing is made mostly up of 20, 30-year-olds, people my age. And there is this, I would guess 70, 75-year-old man in a neon green cutoff shirt and a knee brace. And immediately we're like, that's their pitcher. And I'm not kidding when I tell you they needed to put a pitch clock on this guy, because every time he got the ball, it took him 30 seconds to pitch. He'd do a little like icky shuffle before he actually let it go. And this dude was throwing junk. Like, it's supposed to be slow pitch softball. You're just lobbing it in. It's like, you're not really trying to strike people out. I got in a 3-1 count against this guy, and he threw me a curveball that was going to hit me in the head. I jumped out of the way, and it bounced in the strike zone. And it was, and I said to the umpire, I was like, I have zero clue how that ended up being a strike. I thought it was going to hit me. So I just I think I might have played one of the goats of slow pitch softball last night and didn't know about it. Like, I want to know who this guy is. He was at least 70-year-old man playing with a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds and just punching tickets all night.
Dang.
It was great. And we lost, of course. So the Whispering Dinger season is over, sadly, but I was just astounded by this guy on the mound. I don't know, maybe like 50 years ago, he was one of the greatest softball players of all time. Something like that. I don't know how he found this team that he was playing with. Like, that's what I'm curious about, is like, is one of these people his grandchild, or did he just like show up one day and was like, hey, I'm your pitcher,
I'm the guy. I don't know what happened, but yeah, that's crazy. If you could make a slow pitch softball curve and dip like that,
I would guess he was throwing at least 4 different pitches. He was doing the regular like underhand toss, which I guess would be like your fastball.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw me a changeup in my first at bat that I like lunged out over the plate. It was like a Tarek Skubal changeup. Like, I'm lunging and I just rolled it back to the pitcher because I was so far out in front. I've never seen somebody in slow pitch softball actually make the ball move like that. But
that's crazy.
Shout out this guy. I didn't get his name, but man, he was out there balling. We only got through 5 innings because he took his sweet time when he was out on the mound. But
he probably bored you to death, and you're like, man, just bring the pitch here.
Well, it was funny. We were playing music, and I think that bothered him too. Like, we brought a speaker, and we were playing like, there was some Creed going on, some Nickelback, and I think he was a little bit bothered by it. It rattled him a little bit. We almost came back. We were down 10-1. Scored 4 runs in the 3rd or 4th inning, but then, kind of just ran out of time. Anyway, the greatest softball player out there. If you're listening, I think there's about the same amount of chance this guy's listening as Keisha Cole. But if he's listening out there, call in, because I want to know who you are. What's your story? I think you know who I described you pretty well. It was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen from a softball player. And at the plate too, he he was able to just go backside, hit the ball the other way, working at bats, working the count. We saw the GOAT. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Before we get out of here, we did talk about the Mets a little bit. We're getting down the stretch here in baseball season. How do we feel? How are we feeling with about 30 games to go, TD?
Yeah.
And you said you're heading up there in 2 weeks or so?
Yeah, the 16th, that game. Look, you would like to see a team that started so hot stay hot, but it kind of is what it is, and they are clinging to a wild card, 6 games back of the Phillies. So yeah, I mean, look, they could sweep this series, and it'll be still out of likelihood that they'll win the
Right.
NL East. They didn't win it last year, so and still made a good run. So I mean, it's not the end of the world, but yeah.
Mets 2.5 game lead on the Reds for the final wild card spot.
Yep.
And if you get in, you got a chance. But right now, the way it's lining up, and obviously still a month to go, Dodgers Mets in a 3-game series at Dodger Stadium. That would be a showdown that I think everyone expected would be in the NLCS this year, like it was last year.
Yep.
But man, 3-game series, you never know what could happen to.
Yeah, but I mean, Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and man, like we could go on and on and on.
That's the team you don't want to face in the postseason.
You don't want to face
because
them.
even though they've got the 3rd best record or the 4th best record in the NL right now, they've still got the best team. So we will see. MLB season coming down the stretch. Had to get our Mets update from TD as we get down to September. Sean says, laughing at TD in the studio with his jacket on, looking like he's on a ski trip. Hey, it's getting nice and cool in here. It's getting 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Quick news, Titans' first cut has been announced here, or at least being reported. Justin Mello reporting the Titans are waiving Jordan Mims. So I think him and Jamar Jefferson were probably always going to get cut. I mean, I don't think they're keeping more than 5 running backs on the roster,
Right.
or more than 4. But I think we'll see Jefferson gone pretty close here, and we'll see. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to give you updates as the cuts get reported. Titans will work their way down to 53 by 3 p.m. today, and then the waiver claims start. We will keep you updated on that tomorrow. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you. Coming up next, it's your chance to talk to TD. Now is your time to call 615-737-1025. If you have questions for TD about anything, let us know. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Final hour coming up next. You're on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Final hour on this TD Tuesday. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. It is time to talk to TD. So if you have any questions, text or call 615-737-1025. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll see how many questions we get. I'm planning for us to do this for the next two segments, but who knows? If we get more questions, we'll extend it. Before we do, a couple more cuts that have been reported. Josh Wiley has officially been waived. Not a surprise there based on how he was used in the preseason. Former fifth-round pick. So Josh Wiley's gone, likely means the Titans are only going to keep 3 tight ends. TD, I know I saw somebody in the YouTube chat asked about maybe adding somebody else as the third tight end through a waiver claim, maybe adding a fourth. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, I don't think so. Greg Dulcich he was pretty good when he first broke into the league with the Broncos, but it's just kind of phased out for him. I don't think bringing him in would give you anything more than what David Martin Robinson gives you. And I know Luke Stocker, the tight ends coach, really, really likes DMR, so I don't think so.
Also, I mentioned after Jordan Mims was released, I said Jamar Jefferson may not be far behind, and Justin Mello reporting that Jamar Jefferson has been waived too. So slowly but surely, the moves are coming in, and we will continue to update you as they do. Titans have to get down to 53 in the next 4 hours. It's time to talk to TD. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Zach from Mount Juliet will lead us off here. Zach, thanks for calling. What you got for Turron?
Hey, guys, big fan of the show. TD, appreciate everything you do, man. You help me procrastinate a lot in the office when I'm refreshing your camp updates constantly, so thank you for all that. Real quick, 2-part question. Number one, on Jake's show yesterday, they talked about the Ring of Fire touchdown song. How can you keep your sanity going to work every week and having to listen to that at home games after touchdowns? Number two, on a more serious note, what do you think we're going to do to address this lack of depth secondary problems? We kind of have to assume that L'Jarius Sneed won't play week 1 or even foreseeable future. And if a guy goes down, do you see us signing a free agent down the road to kind of address that and attack that lack of depth issue? So that's kind of my 2-parter. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. And hopefully, despite the procrastinating, you're still productive at work. I'm sure you are, because you sound like a stand-up guy. But yeah, it's funny that the Ring of Fire song, it is a bit like,
we talked about it yesterday. Like, it just doesn't fit the vibes. Yeah. Like, you just scored a touchdown. The trumpets, it's not what I want to hear.
Right. And it's, so I sit next to, I used to be, PK used to be 2 seats down from me. Now he's right next to me, and he likes to open the window. And so you could hear the music, and I'm just like, dang, man. So it's a little tough, but fortunately on that day, like, I'm more focused on work than music, so it doesn't necessarily have a bad impact. As far as the cornerback side of things, it goes back to what we said. Like, you got to watch what the Ravens do. I think that's a team that could have a guy free up. Somebody had mentioned Arthur Mollett, who, if you need a nickel type of guy, yeah, sure, that's a good move to make, but this team has 5 nickel corners, right? And they need more guys on the outside. So I think that's more what they'll be looking to do, add the depth on the outside. Because if you could add a guy on the outside that could play, worst come to worst, you know, let's say, God forbid, something happened to McCreary. If you want to bump Jarvis Brownlee in there, you could do that, and he could play nickel. Remember, he was nickel when he first got here. So I think it's just a matter of focusing on outside corners. That's what they're going to need to get. And that, to me, is only going to come waiver wire. I'll be surprised if Sneed plays against Denver. I know he wants to, but the conditioning being a thing, and then doubling that down to the altitude in Denver, it's just like a double whammy.
Yeah, I think with Sneed and Sweat, it's like, especially starting the season in Denver, I don't know if maybe they are in uniform and available, but how much they're going to play is probably the bigger question. Quickly on the game presentation side, did you see Jim Wyatt as the water ref in the Beat the Freak game that they did during the game on Friday?
No.
You didn't see this? So I guess it's a new like video board feature they're doing called Beat the Freak. And they had, I think it was Alec Iamaner was competing against Javon Curse in some sort of competition, and Jim Wyatt was all dressed up in referee gear because he was the Whata ref for the Whataburger Beat the Freak. It was funny. You need to for the Rams game. I'm sure they'll do it again. Pay attention this time because
Okay.
I'm sure that Jim Wyatt loved doing that.
That had to be hilarious.
I audibly chuckled in the seats while watching it. Let's go to our phone lines again, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Again, it's your chance to talk to TD for the next 30 minutes. Adam from Portland is on the line, and he's been waiting patiently. Adam, good morning. What you got?
Hey, TD, we made it to football.
Yes, sir.
And
All right,
I'm
listen.
very excited about that.
We were never without it. Remember, you got the XFL too, and you got the draft, and all. You find ways.
Okay, no, nobody's watching that. What are you talking about?
Listen,
Hey,
I'm just somebody that loves football, so I was watching it. So
you're the guy. Okay. Hey, so here's the thing. I have no doubt that you are as close to the Titans as anybody, and so I want to know everything that you've learned about them this year, because I ask this question every year, but it's always interesting to see what you say. How would you beat the Titans? Like, what's your game plan, if offensively and defensively? If you want to smoke the Titans, how are you approaching it, Turron Davenport?
Oh, I like that. So the way I would approach it is so on offense, the way I would approach it is I would run the ball heavy early in the game and set up play action, because I just haven't found them to be a fully disciplined defense. No, it's granted it's camp, so it's hard to
right.
But I think that's the best way to beat them. Run the ball, because they're so concerned about stopping the run that you'll see run blitzes and all those types of things start to happen, and then you could play action, you could take a shot down the field. I would also make sure that I focus on the vertical passing game, because outside of Snead, they don't really have corners that could run with very, very speedy receivers, especially in the slot position. So I would attack that way, specifically deep over routes, as we talked about earlier from the nickel. Now, as far as the against the nickel, rather, as far as defensively, I'm blitzing. Like, I'm bringing everything, because look, like, Calvin Ridley is a very good receiver. He's probably the only one I would have like some current concerns about going against one-on-one. Chances are you have a corner that you can say, okay, yeah, you know what, we can probably even that out, and that's going to allow you to blitz more. And I'm just attacking the rookie quarterback. I think Cam, did pretty well against the blitz at times, but that's how I'm doing. I'm blitzing, and I'm mixing coverage up behind it. I want to give him one picture pre-snap, a different one post-snap. I'm rolling coverages, like rolling from two high safeties down to one, reversing, you know what I mean, from single high to two. Like, I'm doing all that type of stuff to just make him pause and then attack him, with the guys up front. That's the way I would do it. I'm coming up. I'm jamming we're one-on-one. I'm trying to jam every receiver, and I'm attacking up front.
And you saw Brian Flores. He did send the zero blitz in that game on Friday night against Cam Ward. And although it was his one incompletion, it wasn't a good throw to Tyler Lockett on that little orbit screen.
Yeah.
I thought he recognized the pressure well, which was good to see. Like, you could tell he knew he was hot, and he got it out quick.
Yep.
Even though it wasn't a great throw. Good question from Adam. Let's go back one more time to our phone lines. Dylan from Antioch is on the line. Dylan, what you got for TD?
Hey, TD. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, man, you do great work.
Thank you.
You and Joe and Paul, you're my go-tos for the Titans, and I love what you do. But hey, I got a question for you. My girlfriend, she spent some time in Philly, and from what I hear, we got a Wawa opening in Nashville sometime soon.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man. So I was like, who's better to ask? So I love me some gas station hoagies. I hear they got some good hoagies, and if you're into it, what is your go-to? What should I get at the new Wawa? And I'll hang up and listen. Thanks for taking my call, bud.
That call makes me smile. Okay, so here's the deal, right? If you're going to go in the morning, you want it. Their coffee is awesome, right? So you get you a tall thing of coffee. They got the little cinnamon you could sprinkle in there, the nutmeg if you like the flavor. I just drink mine straight black, but they got really good coffee. They have a seasonal one too. Like, when I was last home, it was like some type of blueberry crumble cake and then they had another. I forget what the other one. It was like cinnamon toast. So sometimes I'll just get, if I want a little flavor, I'll just go with that straight.
I like
but
it.
their coffee period is good. So here's the deal: you got to compliment that. We have these things back in Philly called tasty cakes, right? And you can see them in Kroger sometimes. But the butterscotch crimpets, and here's a tip for you, okay? When you take the crimpets aren't the same as they were back in the day, right? They're still good. They're not the same. But if you take it out the package and you got to rub it against your leg, there's a little science for you. You rub it against your leg and it charges it somehow to where the icing doesn't stick to the plastic when you take it off. Now, this is how much of a crimpet connoisseur I am. Now, once you open it and with the icing not sticking to the wrapper, you take it and you dip it in your coffee and you eat it, and it's just like heaven. Now, if you want to really, like, sometimes the inner offensive lineman in me comes out, so I get the crimpet, then I also get the breakfast sizzling. Now, I have to like take a second to swallow because I'm salivating.
Making the mouth water here.
Yes. So they have it. You could get it on a croissant, a biscuit, waffles, pancakes. My preference is the pancakes with a little syrup on it, egg and cheese, turkey sausage, no pork on my fork. So that's how we do it. Now,
No pork on my fork.
That's right.
Wow.
Now we're going to go to the hoagies because, if it's after 11 o'clock,
the hoagies at
they
Wawa.
tend to switch up. And let me tell you, you go to the little touch screen, honey roasted turkey, American cheese, white American cheese, jalapenos, sweet peppers, hot peppers, lettuce, pickles, onions, a splice of mayo or oil, just like heaven.
I'm getting hungry.
Can you
here.
hear my
Just like
stomach
heaven.
rumbling back here?
We still
I'm
got
getting pretty hungry.
45
Just like
minutes
heaven.
left on the show. I got to get something to eat
look,
now.
they have the sides too, like during like as you get in the fall, like working towards Thanksgiving time, man, they have this turkey stuffing, or what we call it down here, dressing. Look, I'll be
dressing,
southern.
Stuffing.
Yeah.
I'll be southern. Stuffing, turkey dressing, and cranberry, and oh man, their mac and cheese is good too. Yo, their whole menu, like, I'm a Wawa dude. That's why I lit up when he asked that question. That is the call of the day for me, man. Thank you for
love
asking
it.
me about that.
Yes, thank you, Dylan. I grew up, there was Wawas around where I grew up in Northern Virginia. I was never a big Wawa guy. I was a Sheetz guy. Like, I always loved like the made to order at Sheetz. That was my kind of thing. But I will shout out my Midwest people, Quick Trip.
Quick Trip. I've never been there.
Quick Trip's awesome.
Quick Trip in the Midwest is so, rolling around on a bus with the Summer League baseball team in Minnesota. That was what everyone looked forward to. It's like, we got a 6-hour bus trip, but we're going to stop at Quick Trip, and I'm going to get me a 6-pack of Glazers. That was their donuts.
Oh, really?
So good.
Wow.
And then what else? Oh, they had these like cheesy breadsticks in that was my post-game thing. Like, because they'd feed us, like, we get a meal, but I'd go in there, you get a for real milkshake and a cheesy breadstick. Oh, so good.
So Quick Trip is like your version or my version of Buc-ee's.
Yeah, shout out Buc-ee's. I was going to say
Buc-ee's deserves a shout out too.
Buc-ee's is the premier. Like, that's
I
the
love Buc-ee's,
Buc-ee's is the premier. Like, that's just overkill.
I'm very glad a Wawa is coming because compared to everywhere else I've been, Tennessee's gas station game is just not up to par.
Yeah.
Like, a 7-Eleven's fine, Mapco's fine, but we need a Wawa. Wawa is going to be big.
Wait until that turkey hoagie with all the stuff on it.
I need to find during the break. I need to find out where that Wawa is going to be. Because if it's close, I will be a consistent patron.
I need to go to Wawa's in Philly. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
My mom, she worked at Wawa for a long time.
Really?
And like she had like huge stocks and stuff like that. So Wawa is a personal thing for me, even just because of how long she worked there and everything. Yeah.
We got to research when and where this Wawa is coming. We'll do that in the break. Continue to get your questions in for TD. You can text or call 615-737-1025. We will get to the ones on the text line coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025, the game. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly spinning it back there.
Yeah.
I made a promise to the people, and I've kept it so
He
far.
has followed through.
DJ PK.
He's got 2 more segments to keep it rolling. It's been good from Parker so far today. We got on a gas station tangent in the last segment. Dylan Naniok with a great question about Wawa coming. Chip Walters, the voice of the MTSU Blue Raiders on my personal text line, says that Murfreesboro is getting 3 Wawas and a Buc-ee's. So shout out Murfreesboro.
What?
It's
okay.
gonna be some options down there.
Lebanon's getting an In-N-Out too.
Right.
And
Yeah, I saw they
26, I
broke
think.
ground on that.
You know, In-N-Out is overrated.
I
man.
agree. I've
My
only had it
cousin-
once or twice.
My
But
cousin Colin in Cali, I remember he would say, you know, we're gonna go to In-N-Out, and I want you to make sure you get the burger and fries animal style. If you do get the burger and fries, get it animal style. It's like a little cheat code or
Yeah.
menu, whatever they have those
the
things.
secret menu.
The
Yeah.
secret menu, and they season it up real. But it's overrated.
Right. So I went the first time and didn't know about the secret menu. So just ordered normally off the regular menu. And I thought it was kind of bland. Like
Yeah.
the fries were undercooked. I guess you have to get them extra crispy or something like that. I don't know.
what you gotta
But
do.
yes, In-N-Out is coming to Tennessee. And Wawa's, I'm looking, it says there's going to be 50 locations in Tennessee over the next 10 years or something like that. And I think the closest one to Nashville is going to be in Bellevue. Clarksville also is getting one. A couple of texters mentioned that. For the texters who are writing Quick Trip with a Q, the good Quick Trip is the K Quick Trip, not the Q Quick Trip. It is KWIK, not QUIK.
I've seen them.
Don't get it twisted. So Quick Trip, KWIK, is only in, I believe, Minnesota and Wisconsin. And I think they're Quick Star in Iowa. The QT is more widespread. The KT is the better one. Just got to put that out there.
Yeah.
We'll get off of gas stations for now. Get into some Titans questions here. Ben asked TD, hey, Turron, we know every team wins a game or two that they're not supposed to and loses a game or two that they shouldn't. What games would you pick going both ways for that? The prediction game's tough, but do you see any games that maybe the Titans could pull a Titans special and pull off an upset?
Man, that Rams game week 2 is a good one.
Especially if Stafford maybe isn't all the way back.
Yeah, the Rams game week 2. I think you look at week 4, the Texans without Joe Mixon. That's a good opportunity, and that would be a huge game for them.
The Titans beat the Texans in Houston last year.
Yeah,
with that team. So,
I think the Chargers.
Yeah,
that's one. I don't trust Justin Herbert, but you know, I would say those ones right there. Forget about it. December 21st against the Chiefs. No special there.
Yeah.
40. I would say those 3 that I mentioned.
Right. And for games that the Titans are supposed to win that they lose, there aren't a whole lot of games they're supposed to win this year. So I don't know if you can even do that exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I guess the Saints and Browns would probably be the only games that you could look at and say they're probably favored in those games.
Yeah.
Devin and Dixon asked, TD, any thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys? What do you think they look like this year?
That place is a mess. They have to get this Micah Parsons thing situated. I think I'm just thinking about George Pickens in Dallas. And as soon as something doesn't go right with Dak, like I want to see how that goes. Because we know George Pickens is a different type of dude. They open up at Philly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're the opening game of the season.
I say at best, they're a wild card. At best, they are a wild card.
I mean, I think they have enough talent that they're going to be in the mix. Like, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, and you've got good wide receivers. If they figure out the Micah Parsons thing, that defense is fine. But, yeah, I don't see them being a Super Bowl contender by any means. Justin Turner, he says you know him as Dr. Turner from Mississippi.
Yeah, that's my guy right there, man.
He asks, are the Titans open to Zadarius Smith? Maybe Zadarius might be asking for more than they're willing to pay. I would think maybe it's more Zadarius wants to go to a contender.
Yeah, I think more he wants to go to a contender. I haven't heard anything about Zadarius Smith. even like Jeremy Fowler, when he was here, he said he got Preston Smith in conversation. I didn't hear anything about that either. So I don't think they're going to do anything. Um, they seem to like Jahad Ward. They like, obviously Femi Oladejo, Arden Key, what they have right now,
Yeah.
Draymond Jones. Although I will say, Doc, my guy Justin is on point with this because he's a bigger edge, which is what they want to do. So I can
Yeah.
see the fit.
Yeah, I think it would make sense for the Titans, but I don't know if Zadarius Smith would be all that interested in signing here, knowing that it's probably not going to be a great season. So we'll see. We said you could ask TD anything, and Wes from Hermitage wants to go a little bit deeper here, TD. He says, recently life hasn't been great to me and things are getting tough. How do you continue to push forward daily when you feel like everything around you may be falling apart?
I love the question. We all know December 2023, it felt like everything was falling apart, man. For me, the main thing is prayer. That's the biggest thing. Also music, man. Like when I say I love music, I love music. Like I have music for every different mood, every different, just whatever. Like it's, I listen to all kinds of music. So that's a big one. Exercise is very important. I love to cook. So cooking, finding somebody that you could spend time with. And I'm not talking about like, you know, somebody you could just sit down and talk to. I think it's important as men, like you gotta have a homie that you could just call up, bro. Look, man, I just need to get this off my chest.
Yeah.
I have 3 homies I could do that with. So having that is important, but I'll circle it back to just prayer. And even if you don't go to church every day, like it's all good. Like every Sunday, it's all good. Your relationship with a higher being doesn't revolve solely around being in the building
For sure.
every Sunday, but like having things that you could go to when those moments come up, like that's the biggest thing. And mindset overall is everything. I got it tatted on my left calf, on my left side of my leg. No bad days. Like you're not about to have. I'm not going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
I'll have a bad moment, but it's not spiraling into a bad day. It's just not. And just having things that you could go to or think of that make you smile. Like my screensaver on my phone is my granddaughter, so I can't be upset. Like I'll see this little rascal. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then I have videos of her and stuff like that. It's just you got to find things that you could go to take you back to that good place. And that's really the main thing for me.
I love it. Great question from Wes from
Yeah,
Hermitage.
great
And,
question.
again, we opened it up. Anything is on the table for TD. There are a couple more I want to get to. So we'll extend this. We'll do it for at least one more segment here. Final 30 minutes of the show on this TD Tuesday. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you. We are extending Talk to TD, which we're going to do it every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Give you an opportunity to ask TD whatever you want. We've gotten some really good questions so far. I had a couple more I wanted to get to. Colin asks, TD, over your time covering the NFL, how have you seen improvements in position coaches teaching technique? And are there some ways where maybe it's gotten worse in that aspect of the coaches teaching the technique?
That's a great question. Was it Colin? Yeah, that's a great question. I've been blessed to see some really good coaches, right? I remember watching 49ers practice before they played the Texans. And this was when Matt Schaub threw, I think he had like 5 consecutive pick sixes. And Tremaine Brock, who eventually came here,
right?
He was actually the guy who's notorious for not making the tackle on Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. But he came here. He came here eventually. But when he was with the 49ers, Ed Donatel, who was in Atlanta during joint practices, because his son is the assistant DB coach here with the Titans. But anyway, let's get to the story. Donatel, I remember they were working on a certain route combo and switching off the outside guy and the nickel and switching off. And exactly what they were working on, it ended up being the way Tremaine Brock picked off Matthew Schaub, and it set it was a pick six, and it set the most consecutive, most pick sixes a guy threw in a season.
Wow.
And Brock did that. So I was blessed to have that. I think the best example of coaching, Mike Groh, I remember in Philly working with the Eagles receivers, was really good. Corey Underlin, who worked with the DBs. Baltimore, I mean, just seeing Castillo. Oh, what's his name? Damn it, I forget his name. He was the O-line coach for the Ravens. He was O-line coach for the Eagles too. Ended up being a DB.
Juan
Castillo. Yeah. Watching him, you know what I mean? And then here, watching Brian Callahan, not necessarily Callahan, but Bill Callahan work. But the premier one, Mike Vrabel.
Really?
Mike Vrabel is the best football coach I've ever seen.
Wow.
I literally used to walk from like station to station, and I'll watch him go to the receivers and say, hey, you know what? In a combat catch type of situation, you got to do this and show them. And then he'll go to the linebackers, right? The inside backers, and show them how to come up and spike. And then he'll go to the O-line, and you see him engaging with them. And they'll go to the D-line, and you see him working on leverage. And Mike Vrabel is an awesome football coach.
Yeah.
When I say awesome, I mean awesome. Not just technique, but also the understanding of the game. Back when he was the coach, we used to be able to go on Fridays outside, like after seeing teams stretch, we would be able to stay, and they'll run period. And you would see him put the ball on the ground. Okay, it's 3rd and 3. We're up by 4. Defense, you got to make the stop. And like just the situational awareness. And we know what he did to Bill Belichick. Right. You know what I mean? Mike Vrabel is the best football coach I've ever seen.
That might get some Titans fans up in arms here. And I get what you're saying is like on the field, in terms of just teaching guys, you could tell that he knew what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And he continues to get involved over with the Patriots. Let's go back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chance from Nashville is on the line and has been waiting patiently. Chance, thanks for calling. What you got for TD?
No, the name is Terrence, man. Just wanted to say what's up to TD, man. I don't know if you remember me working up there at Cromwell, man. You came to the, we were selling them sales packages, came to Sensible Oils with me.
Yeah. Come on, man. I don't know if you remember. I know who you are, brother. What's up, man?
Yeah, man. Just saying what's up, man. Just proud of you, man. Everything you're doing and stuff
I appreciate
like that, man. And just keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate it, man. I hope all is well your way, man. God bless.
Yes, sir.
Hit me up. You got my number, man.
Thank you, Terrence.
I like that. I appreciate it. Terrence is a good dude, man. He was here. He was doing sales and stuff.
I love
and
it.
We went out on a couple. He got a deal for me. It was, I want to say 20. It was 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 23. He got a deal for.
I
me.
love it.
Yep.
I love it. Thanks for calling, Terrence. Before we get to, I have one last question for TD that I think wraps everything up nicely. A couple of Titans big news. So Xavier Restrepo was released, Mason Kinsey was released, Trevor Siemian was released. No surprises there. In the last couple minutes, Jalen Duncan has been waived.
Yeah.
Again, not a huge surprise. Here's the one: James Prochet has been released. So the Titans, who I think a lot of people thought they were going to keep 7 wide receivers, looks like they're only going to keep 6.
Yeah, that's a surprising one. I definitely didn't think that he was going to get released. I thought he did enough to earn a spot on the roster, but it looks like they're not keeping 7.
So, I mean, we know who the 6 are. It's Ridley, Lockett, Jefferson, Iamaner, DK, Oliver. Like, that's your 6. Jeremy Fowler reporting, Titans releasing wide receiver James Prochet per source. Team wants him back on practice squad, but could get picked up elsewhere, pushing hard for final receiver spot in Tennessee. So we'll see where they use that extra spot, because almost every prediction I saw had 7 wide receivers. We'll see. Maybe they think they need another piece on defense, on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Kaharski also reporting that Ali Udo has not received word yet. So that could be another inflection point when it comes to the Titans roster. They have to be down to 53 in the next 3 hours or so. The cuts are coming in. We'll continue to update you. And we'll talk more about James Prochet in our final segment. But I had one last question for TD that I think wraps this up nicely. If the Titans were a gas station, what gas station would they be? We got Titans questions. We got Wawa questions. Let's wrap them up all in one.
You know that mini mart that you know, you got a nice car, you don't go get gas there. Nah, let me stop, man. If they were, so I would call them. I think it would be like a Circle K.
Okay.
Yeah, Circle K. Well, you know, where it's like
the one you pass by when you know there's another one coming up on
yeah,
the right.
yeah. You see the BP up there or the Shell. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah.
I can.
But I only got 5 miles left. Let me go ahead and get gas here. You know what I mean? It fills the void. You know what I mean? But it's not like something you want to go to, make an effort to solely go to.
I love it. That is a perfect way to wrap up our first edition of Talk to TD. I'm workshopping the name. If somebody has a better name for our TD interactive segment that we're going to have here on Tuesdays, let me know. 615-737-1025. But big news coming out. Probably the one big question mark with the Titans 53 was how many receivers are they going to keep? James Prochet has been released, according to Jeremy Fowler. We will talk about it next, what it means for the rest of the roster, and we'll wrap up the show. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final segment of the show. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you on this TD Tuesday.
Get the home team in here. Meek Mill, you already know.
Parker has passed the test, I believe, for his first TD Tuesday.
I like the range.
Right.
Like he brought in a song that made me think like Beautiful Things. Keisha Cole brought that up, took me back home. Tupac took me back to the 90s, 97 date. Like it's been great. 96,
yeah.
rather.
Hey, I'm available to DJ weddings just as long as they're not in the fall. So
yeah.
There you go. Parker Kelly, DJ Parker, has been great today. Well done behind the board. Titans making a surprising move as they continue to cut down the roster to 53. I believe I just saw Easton Freeze say that there are 14 cuts left to make. So they've gotten pretty close. But still some tough decisions to make. The big one that just came out, James Prochet has been released. A lot of people thought he would be on the roster as the punt returner and 7th wide receiver. So, TD, it seems like, at least for now, the Titans feel good with Chim DK being back there as their punt returner.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you take a guy that high in the 4th round, it would be hard not to have him active on game day. So, I get it. I thought, maybe it would be a little more merit-based as opposed to draft status-based and future-based. But I get it. This is a team that's building towards the future.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing process. So I understand it. It makes sense. I just hate to see it. Because, listen, James Prochet is an awesome dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, he's an awesome dude. I hate to see him go. Because I know that in the locker room, his energy is what they need. His good vibes are what they need. But then you also look at, and I posted on Twitter, outside of Bryce Oliver, obviously Calvin Ridley, I don't know who had a better camp receiver-wise than James Prochet did.
Yeah, he was
Making plays. So you have that as well. It's just unfortunate because when you look at him, like he was so promising coming out of SMU, right? He gets to Baltimore. Look, as a receiver in Greg Roman's offense, like it's just not a good thing. But then, stuff didn't work out initially. Then they drafted Rashad Bateman, and you get a 1st-round pick. That's obviously going to trump. I think he was a 4th-round pick. I think
that sounds right.
That's going to trump that. And then, they got Zay Flowers, and then he's up out of there. And then it's just been unfortunate for him. But wish him the best.
Yeah, and I get letting Chim kind of go trial by fire there. And it's like, hey, like the only way he's going to get better at returning punts is if you let him return punts.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make you feel great heading into the season because, John Fossil last week basically was saying like Chim hasn't earned the right to be the punt returner yet. And now a week later, he's the only one left. So we'll see. But that's the first real shocker for the Titans in terms of who they've cut. Like you see Jordan Schultz tweeting about Xavier Restrepo being cut. Everyone seemed to know that. Maybe Trevor Siemian. I know there was a little bit of talk about whether he could pass Brandon Allen for the backup spot, but Trevor Siemian's been cut. So the Titans are slowly working their way down. And I posed the question in the last segment of now, where do you use that extra roster spot? Because it seemed like everyone was giving the Titans 7 wide receivers. You already cut Josh Wiley, so you're probably not keeping 4 tight ends.
3 running backs in this. Well, definitely not 4 running backs.
Right. So Tajay is going to be on short-term IR. That gives you another spot. Maybe you're loading up on defensive linemen for now. Or maybe this is all leading to who they think they can get on waivers or who is already out there on waivers that they're already planning. I guess that is an advantage of knowing a lot of the players who are out there already, is that you can kind of plan and say, okay, maybe we can cut this guy because we feel like we can get this guy on waivers tomorrow. We won't really know until the dust settles how this is all going to shake out. Maybe the Titans have another plan at punt returner, but that's the biggest shocker that I think we've had to this point, and maybe the biggest one we're going to get as I'm looking at who still hasn't been cut. I guess they have to make a decision on the offensive line.
Crenshaw, Dixon,
Ali Udo,
yeah.
John Ajuku, I believe I haven't seen.
Yeah.
He's
Rupchich.
Right. Jalen Duncan has been waived, so we know he's not in there. And then I don't believe I've seen any decisions on the defensive line quite yet, or pretty much the entire defense. Like, they've cut some of the corners, and they cut Amari Burney at linebacker. They cut Desmond Evans on the edge, but a lot of the bubble guys on defense are still there. So I guess that's where the next shoe to drop will come is, does Carlos Watkins make the roster? Does Ali Gay make the roster? Who's your fourth linebacker? And we'll find that out in the next couple hours.
Odukoya is getting waived.
Okay. So Thomas Odukoya is waived. So that means you would make the assumption David Martin Robinson has made the roster, because you're down to 3 tight ends then. So that gives you your 3 with.
Do we have an update on Wiley? Was Wiley?
He got cut.
Wiley got waived about an hour ago.
Okay.
So Titans, they're slowly working their way down. I think if Odukoya is the next one, that brings them down to 13 players left to be cut. A lot of those are going to be on the defensive side. But at this point, I wonder if the guys getting cut, or the guys who are making the team, probably aren't going to be around very long. Again, we're looking at the bubble on the defensive line and linebacker and corner. Based on what we've seen, I would guess Gabe Judy-Lally probably has made the initial roster. Again, we'll have to wait for full confirmation, but just based on the guys we've seen cut, I think that's probably where it's trending. Maybe linebacker and offensive line are probably the 2 last places where there's a little bit of question. Who's that swing tackle? And then I guess who's your 4th linebacker? Is it Curtis Jacobs or is it Asamoah from the Vikings?
Asamoah is so intriguing, but Curtis Jacob made a couple plays. Like, I remember him jumping up and getting an interception. I think it was Tim Boyle that threw it, but yeah, I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, it's starting to all come down. I would guess probably within the next hour or so, we'll have a pretty good idea of what this roster is going to look like, at least for the initial 53. But again, Titans have top waiver priority. There's not a whole lot of depth on this team. I would guess, would you say over under 3 waiver claims, or do you think that's about right?
Yeah, I think 3 is good. 3
right.
to 4, I'll take the over and go 4.
Yeah, I think that's about right. If you add maybe a corner, edge, linebacker, and then somebody on offense, probably an offensive lineman. So
Titans fans are hilarious, man. I got to put this on here. Howie the Titan on Twitter. He posted this. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's,
if you can see on the stream, it's Cam Ward talking to Xavier Restrepo saying, I tried, bro.
But hey, listen, man, I think he'll clear waivers and end up on the practice squad.
Right. And I did see a text. We were talking about the question, what gas station would the Titans be? And 9712 says Cam's going to make us a Buc-ee's. Who knows? But they're a Circle K right now.
You become a Buc-ee's here. Yeah, that's good for business.
According to Turron Davenport, they're Circle K right now. But yeah, who knows? Cam Ward, they're under new management over there at the Circle K. Titans cuts are coming down. Thomas Odukoya, TD just said that, and Justin Mello also putting that out there that Odukoya has been waived. So we will see how the rest of the roster shakes out. Chase and Big Joe, I'm sure, will keep you updated as the Titans get down to 53 by the end of their show. So they will know the initial 53 by the time they are off the air. TD, thanks for coming in.
No problem, man. It's been fun. Listen, this is what we get. We're going to do the Talk to TD Tuesdays.
Yeah.
11 a.m. Central Time. Make sure you call. No question is off the table.
We got great questions today.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody out there who chimed in, whether it was about life, about football, about gas stations. We got great interaction today, so appreciate everybody out there. And again, every Tuesday, TD is going to be in here for the full show, as the schedule allows. I'm sure there will be times when we have to move things around, but TD will be in here every Tuesday. And again, we'll do Talk to TD, Talk and Shop with TD. I saw somebody put that in there. We'll figure out a good name for it. For Parker Kelly and Turron Davenport, I am Jake Lyman signing off. We'll have all your reaction to the Titans cut down tomorrow and any waiver claims that are made at 9 a.m. Chase and Big Joe are coming up next. You're all 102.5 The Game.